Hello there, guys. My name is Chris Fernandez. I'm the solutions engineer for Keysight Technologies. This video, I'm just going to go over how do you automate, in particular, how do you automate a MACSec test using IX network. So for the test case itself, the one that I'm actually implementing here, I'm going to use this simple test case here, which is going to be establishing MK sessions, generating traffic, and kind of making sure that the traffic is is going through. Um, in my case here, I have a connection from port to port, so I just have a connection to ports, the Ixia ports connected back to back. I'm gonna put all the links and for the code itself to another window, to another place, so you be able to explore that. For further sources for information on how to automate using Ixia, I usually go to openixia.com, and under sample scripts here, you can follow IX network. For all the configurations that and you and more examples on how to automate using our system. So for the test case itself, I'm going to actually be my session lives on my network on my laptop here. So this is in this test scenario here. The test input output is the test input text. Kind of tells me where I'm going to be reading the session, where I'm going to be running my IX network session, which is down in my local host. The session ID, it's the session ID, it's already here, so it's a session that's already there, it already exists, I don't have to create a session. User and password is only necessary if I'm doing this automation on a Linux environment, which is not the case. I'm using Windows. REST port 11089 is the one that is showing up here. This is my test. This is the IP address of the chassis itself. And for test number 1, I'm going to use ports 1 and 2. They are copper, and here's the speed. It's 1 gig. Now for the test itself, the scenario, I'm going to be using a static L2 configuration. If you follow the 2 videos that I did for MACSec, you kind of understand what's going on here. So L2 is used for performance for MACSec and MKA. And then optionally, so all those variables here that have optional here is stuff that you can do optionally. So optionally here, I'm just configuring an IP address. You don't have to. And all all those variables here are optional, so you don't have to really do anything about it. And then for the packet size here, I'm not going to do all of them because it takes a long time. So I'm just going to do I'm just going to run 64-byte packet, or I just do 2 bytes. Or 2 packet sizes only, and option here is to clean up. So I'm just going to run test case number 1 here. So I'm going to my main, and under here I'm just going to run test case number 1. And I'm going to step through the code here and stop where things are being done. So I'm going to first stop here is going to be where I create the session. That's when I actually connect to my existing session here. So I'm going to start this. And I should be able to stop right here. So this is, so far all I did was just read the config file and grab the variables that I'm going to be using. So next on this step here, I'm going to create a session. So you're going to see that I'm going to connect to my existing session here. And that takes a little bit of time. That's where you look at this, and the session was created. So I'm going to keep going straight forward. And now over here, I'm adding my ports to my session. So this is going to take a little bit of time. That's when I'm actually adding the ports and changing the media from, I think the default is actually fiber, and I'm doing actually the copper. So if you want more information on this, I'm going to put a link to this code so you can actually go through it. But you can actually follow along here in what is it doing. So over here, this is a condition. So I'm actually looking into the port statistics tab. So if you look into my port here, and I'm looking at protocols, this port statistics tab here, it corresponds to this word exactly as is, and I'm just doing a regular expression on the word links up. So I'm just making sure that link is up, seen here under link state. So this is the column that I'm looking at, and this is the word that I'm looking at. So if I'm doing this without any filters, so I'm doing for all the rows here, I'm making sure that the link is up. So this is what continues on. So the port is up. So this condition here sets to true. So now I'm adding the topology. So this here is I'm gonna take variables that I put it into here. This two configurations here. So static LL2 and MKA. It's gonna be set here on under this add topologies, and then we can stop again. So I'm just gonna do addition here. So this is where I'm configuring and added topology to my session. So if you go to scenario now, you can see that I created two test topologies, 1 and 2, with MKA and static MAC. And you can see here this I'm using L2, L3 as Ethernet type for performance reasons. And now I'm actually going to start all protocols. So that's the same. This here is the same thing as me pressing this button here on the GUI. So I'm going to keep going. So now that I start topology, this is where the ports are going to communicate, and you're going to have the election for the key server, and things should come up at this point here. And now this, what I'm looking at now, again, I'm looking at the protocol summary table, this table here. And I am actually looking into the MKA as this row here, row number 1 here, and I'm making sure that sessions down equals to 0 and sessions not started equals 0. So I'm looking at those two columns here and make sure is zeros. I'm doing that instead of looking at sessions up, just because I can change the number of sessions here, so I don't have to look at this number all the time. So this number doesn't have to be a variable. By looking at the sessions down and sessions not started, I know that all sessions that I configured, they already started. So that's what those checks here are doing. So I'm just going to go through them. Now over here, I'm actually creating traffic. So creating unidirectional traffic. This is the traffic that gets done in this here. So I'm creating the type of Ethernet VLAN traffic, and I'm going to do 64 byte packet for my initial call here. So I'm going to go back to here, and this is what it's doing there, creating the encrypted traffic. And after it gets created, we can take a look and what else can be done. So over here, after created the traffic, I'm doing a few modifications. One, and I'm modifying to transmission. So I'm transmitting traffic for only 30 seconds. This is what it's doing here. And I'm also putting the line rate to 100%. So if you look at now how the traffic is done. So right now it's at 10% line rate and 64 byte packet. It's a 10% line rate. So I'm going to keep going through here. I'm modifying the time that's going to be transmitted. So that's inside of the traffic item here. And I'm going to add the value for 100%. So this here should be modified now for 100% line rate. And I'm generating the traffic. So that's what this modification did here. So now the automation is going to be modifying the packet size. So this packet size here is 64, which is what I wanted already. So it's not going to be doing anything. So now this here, I just modify it, and this here is modifying the packet rate to 100%. The rate is 100%, and it's going to apply the traffic. So now that when I do set apply here, that's when the CPU is actually going to encrypt the traffic and send it down to the FPGA to be sent out. So that's what it's doing here. And then I'm just going to run traffic. And the traffic, since I did set it for to run for 30 seconds, then that's what it's going to do. And after that, I'm just grabbing the results over here, and I'm actually storing the results somewhere else. So this is what it's doing here for this. It's just storing the information that I get from flow statistics. Again, traffic item and statistics set view here. It goes into the table that's called traffic item statistics and grabs information about frames delta, frames sent and received, and it grabs information about and then it puts into the result here. So this is what it's doing. So right now the traffic is being applied. It takes a little bit. So we're just going to wait a few seconds here until it comes back. So right now it's modifying and applying the traffic. So this is when the CPU is actually working to encrypt the traffic before it sends out to the FPGA. Okay, so now after the traffic was finally applied, so I can now start traffic and sleep for 5 seconds here, just to give the time to start. So as you can see here, traffic is running, and it's going to be running for 30 seconds. So I don't really have waiting for traffic to stop. So it's looking into the traffic state to make sure it's stop state before it goes. So as you can see, the traffic is running. I see that at the traffic is at 1 gig. So L1 is 1 gig. So it is sending traffic at 1 gig. Now I can go back to my test here. So I'm just recording the results, and then I'm making sure that and then now I'm making sure that the traffic delta, this delta here, is I didn't lose any packets. So traffic was successful at 100% line rate. So it doesn't need to do anything. We're done with this packet size. So now it's going to increment the packet size, apply again, and it's going to run the traffic again. As you follow along here on the bottom here on the terminal, we sent traffic at 64 line rate. We got 100%, and we did not lose any, no loss detected. So now the packet is set to 1482, and I'm just about to start that traffic. So I'm just gonna hit this here, and as soon as the traffic start running on the background here, we can move on to the next line here, which is just waiting for the traffic to stop. Since I set the traffic to 30 seconds, so we can see here it's going to run for about 30 seconds and then stop. And then after that, it's going to go through grab the statistics for that traffic and print it out, and that will be it for this test case here. I just want to make sure that I'll let you guys know that this code here that on the screen are on the GitHub. So if you follow GitHub, Chris Fernandez-Exia, MACSec Automation, those are the 3 files that we're actually looking in the background here. And if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me. So after this test stopped, I'm just going to keep going here and finish it off. So after the test runs, I just all I do is just record the results. And as you can see here, 64-byte packet and 1482 packets got run, 100% line rate, and I got no loss. So the test passed. And then after that, it just cleans up, stop protocols, and cleans up the session. So I know I didn't go over this library here. This is where the main part of the code does for creating the the stack and everything else, but you can read the code on your own. It's not that hard. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you. Bye.